Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got a few high-scoring tiles on my rack. It's fairly balanced in terms of vowels and consonants. I can't see a 7-letter bingo here, and I think it's unlikely that there are any 8s. The duplicate B, quite unbingo-y. So I'll be looking to get rid of 2 out of the 3 high-scoring tiles, possibly all 3. Okay, nice start for my opponent, 30 points. Evading takes an E in front. I have an E, but I can't see a 6-letter play which reaches the double word square. The V inhibits parallel plays to some extent. However, I can play bow here for 28 points. Slightly dangerous because there are tiles which can go in front of OD and an A can go in front of HI. However, I have one of those tiles in the B, and 28 points is quite good. I'm going with this. That looks a lot more promising. There could easily be a bingo here. I have Briinges through the G and re-begins. That could easily be blocked. Onto an S, I think I would have Nebrises. Do I have a 7? I haven't seen one so far. Without the B, the rest of the rack is very bingo-y. Now, I have pairs of letters to consider. So I was just looking at BA and thinking about bear binds, but I think that's BEAR. So that doesn't quite work. What about OD? Okay, my Briinges spot has been taken, annoyingly. Just 19 points for my opponent, which is good. 1 new floater in the U. Does that help me? I have the sub prefix. Gosh, this feels really close. But I'm not seeing anything yet. What about Suberine? I don't feel great about that. I'm going to check it. Nope. Am I confusing that with something which is good? Just not seeing it. I don't have an E for going in front of HI, or an O for going in front of... I don't have an A for going in front of HI, or an A or an O for going in front of bar, so I can't really stick my B to good effect in front of OD. What about using the evading hook? I'm thinking about playing bowed. Gosh, that takes an A in front, so that's pretty dangerous. What about a play across here? How about playing Nebris? Wrecking the rack. But 35 points, that's a lot more than I've seen for anything else. It is providing a lot of floaters. This is a tricky call. If there is a bingo, this is definitely going to be significantly inferior. Gosh, I was just thinking about playing Neb down here, but Hib not good. Otherwise, I think that would be a better play. I'm going with this. Wow. I'm not sure that's a particularly deserved pickup when you're playing off 6 tiles. 6 random tiles couldn't have been much better than this. I will have a ton of bingos. Now the best lane is going to be column 11, a double-double, for a play with ES in the middle. And I'm just looking initially for any word with ES in the middle. So that will be this rack plus an E. Let me see if anything comes to mind. Co-insure. Co-inures. Neither works. And I'm just looking for 8s through an E at the moment. Nice score for my opponent. So I've got the OUS ending, which wouldn't work with the ES in the middle. Still not seeing anything through that E. And I'm not feeling particularly optimistic now. I have the beginning. So, well, I was thinking about unperson. I would need another N for that. Out sneer. That doesn't work. Okay, so that hasn't been particularly promising. So no double-double. What about a play onto the S, or ending ON? I think because I've spent some time on this play, I'm just going to take out this S, even though a play from H1 would probably score more and possibly be better. The S is the most dangerous floater for my opponent, so I'm going to just play a play probably ending in S to reduce the utility of the floaters. And I'd like it to begin with a letter which doesn't commonly end words. So, what do I have? What about a play beginning with a U, a UN play? Yeah, I have unsobers. That will just about do the job. I'm not too bothered about the E next to this triple letter square. The A and the O are far more dangerous vowels. So unsobers for 74. I draw the X, which is good. No super hot X spots jump to mind. But it's still nice to have on your rack. Not a particularly bingo-y rack, but I've got vowels, so I have Wex and Wox on my rack. Wex can be spelt with an E, so I do have Wex in row B and EL. Although that will be opening up row A, so maybe I can find something better. Nug is good, but I can't see any X words using the G. I'm looking to play the X primarily because it's likely to give me the best score. And it's certainly not a tile you want to hang on to because it's not bingo-y. My W can go in front of this E. Well, opponent's just gone there and scored 38 points. Nothing goes in front of KO, so there isn't a decent lane in column 13. Still no A for a high, and WOD not good. So that spot just isn't working out. I'm reluctant to play Wex. It only scores about 30 points and it gives a lot away. But what else is available? Well, I could play Wex onto this E, keeping EGOT. Doesn't feel fantastic, only 28 points, but I'm not seeing anything better. And it is good to get rid of the W with the X. They are both non-bingo-y tiles. Just wondering if I have a 6-letter play ending with the N, beginning with the W or X. Can't see such a play. I'm going with this. Well, that's another good pickup. Onto an N, I would have negation, and I have that in row H. Fantastic, and that's pretty disguised. Unlikely to be blocked deliberately, but maybe blocked by a play in column 6, utilising the front, one of the front hooks for HI, and there are a few, A, C and G. but the E next to this triple letter square may prove an attraction to my opponent, plus a parallel play in column 12 would score quite well. So, do I have an alternative bingo? A couple of floaters to consider. In Nebris, can't see anything beginning with the B. What about the R? That would be a massively high probability bingo. And pretty tragic to overlook were there to be one, but I'm not seeing one yet. And is there a 7 with this rack? Not seeing such a play. Is there really nothing with B or R? Not that I can see. Well, the ball's in my opponent's court. As to whether he blocks negation. Great, he does not. Fantastic. So, negation for 89. Not a good pickup, but I've been reasonably fortunate so far in the game, and I have a 100-point lead. Still one blank to come. My F can go in front of ER, so I could play oaf in that spot. I do now have an A for going in front of HI, but no scoring tile to go in front of OD. Where else can my F play? Zoo is quite blocky because nothing goes after it. My F can't go after NU. An awful lot of good floaters in negation, so that's really opened the board up. And they're not floaters I can make good use of with this rack. They're really floaters that are useful for bingos. Great, just 22 points for my opponent, and he doesn't take my oaf spot. In fact, he provides a new spot for my F. I could play FAA. I just can't see a way of playing off a third vowel, so my rack leaves pretty atrocious. However, 33 points, definitely better than changing. Is there a play through one of the catmint letters which uses one more vowel? I wouldn't mind taking a score hit of maybe up to 10 points to jettison one more vowel. Well, I'm not seeing it, so I'm going with this. Pretty good. I draw the final blank. The rest of the rack is bingoing, however, too many vowels and duplicates. However, there could be an 8-letter bingo with this rack. Always difficult to spot. Just wondering about teeny E, but I don't think that has 2 I's. Quite a few floating consonants on the board. There's the N of negation, N and T of catmint, and the R of Nebris. And I mention those in the context of a 5-vowel 8. Great, just 30 points for my opponent. I don't think they've had a bingo yet, which is fortunate for me. There could be a 7-letter play here. I'm going to run through the alphabet, looking for 7s and trying to keep in mind N and R. Not seen anything so far. 11 minutes on my clock. I have missed some 5-vowel 8s on video. They are very tricky to see because your mind just doesn't chunk the letters in the way that you can do when you have consonants present. N and R. Gosh, fairly close to initiate. Okay, so I'm not seeing any bingos with this rack. How to sort it out? Certainly looking to play off one of the duplicate eyes. Now, cutely takes an A in front, so maybe I can play down here. Well, I don't have a play which is ideal. I do have Ain. 21 points. I'm taking out a pretty dangerous floater. My opponent could stick one of several high-scoring tiles on this double letter square, score 40 or 50 points, which is 2/3 of a bingo. I'm happy to deny my opponent that. I can't see a way of playing off one more tile in this spot, so this is Val heavy. However, I still like this. The blank gives me huge prospects of bingoing at some point in the future, even if the rack leave on any given move is poor. And I'm in good shape. I'm 100 points in front. However, still 27 tiles to come, so there's still plenty of action before the game concludes. So, do I have a bingo here? This looks pretty promising. Another lowish score for my opponent. And I'm just wondering how to approach this. I will go through the alphabet, but it's always nice when something pops into your head before you do that, because then you've got that thing in your back pocket. So there's the floating N of negation, and I'm not too bothered about hitting the triple word square. At this stage, I'm primarily concerned about finding a bingo. So I've got line as an ending part of a word. I've got IER as an ending part of the word. I've got N as the first letter of a word. Likewise with R, although that will open up a triple. I'm looking for sevens. 9 minutes on my clock. So I'm looking for sevens, but I'm also having keeping the N in mind as the most useful floater. So likelier through an L. Wow, that looks like there could be something there. Not seeing it. So what about this rack with an N? Or as a 7-letter play? Interlie may be good, but that doesn't work. And I'm not sure it is good anyway. Livelier through an L. Okay, so that's pretty disappointing. I've seen nothing, and yet this feels like a bingo-y rack. There is the floating E of negation, but that doesn't look a useful avenue to explore. So what to do here? Only 1-point tiles. I'm not going to spend any longer looking for a bingo. I've only got 7 minutes left and there are 25 tiles in the bag. I need to play something. So I'm looking to play off E and I, possibly the L as well, just to get something down. Really tempting to keep on looking for a bingo, but in this short game of only 20 minutes, I just don't have the time for it. And I don't want to block a bingo lane. Wow, tempting to play Lien. Very tempting. I've got nothing to go after NU. Tricky stuff. So, Lien, only 8 points. I'm opening up row A, but I've got a super hot rack leave. And I do have, well, only a 90-point lead, so if opponent bingos now and I don't bingo, could be close. However, I think I'd like to keep the board wide open in order to maximise my chances of getting a bingo down. And I can't see anywhere else to play LIE for more points. I'm going with this. Lie for 8. Lien for 8. So, do I have a bingo now? Not a great pickup, P and Y and L, but it looks balanced. I have replying through the N with the blank as a G. Fantastic. That's what I was looking for. I've got a bingo in my back pocket. There's 5 minutes on my clock. 5 minutes to find a better bingo. A better bingo would be one in row A or one in column 1 ending in N. That's not worth looking for. Very unlikely with this rack. So a play in row A, perhaps ending with E. And I'm going to have to do this fairly quickly. LY ending words don't work. Not seen anything yet. 4 minutes on my clock. Still not seeing anything. Prettily through a T. Okay, so I have replying. Do I have an alternative bingo? I haven't seen any 7s with this rack. I'm fairly sure there are going to be some. But I'm down to just 3 minutes on my clock with 20 tiles in the bag. So, replying for 65. Wow. Not good news at all. 7 consonants, including the Q. Gosh, brutal. Especially when you consider how many vowels are unplayed. 12 out of 20 tiles. So I drew 12 from 27. I drew 7 tiles from 27 tiles, of which 12 were vowels, and dodged all of them, if that makes sense. So I can play my Q above the I of Lien, and that would be good because it would be blocking row A. However, I don't think there is anywhere else for the Q, which is a problem. I have a 150-point lead. That should be enough. And I may change because there are no U's to come, only 2 I's. Is there really nowhere for the Q? Just not seeing it. Great, opponent has not blocked Q here. Chi at this spot, and that is really great. It's only 11 points and I'm retaining 6 consonants, which ordinarily would be dreadful. But in this instance, it's excellent because I'm blocking row A. Chi for 11. And the icing on the cake, I draw a vowel. Fantastic. So I now have a 140-point lead. I can't do very much with this rack, but the vowel means I can do something. 10 tiles in the bag. Just looking at this C of acutely, the H goes after it, but IH not good, so I don't have a play of merch in column 2. A Cabba is good, but I don't have a C. That's down here in acutely. Do I have anything which goes in front of ABBA? I don't. So I'll be looking to probably leave 1 in the bag, not open any bingo lanes. 30 points for my opponent, 8 in the bag, so I'm not going to leave 1 in the bag. Now, what about this NU spot? So I could play Germ, which is quite nice. It's turning over a lot of tiles. It leaves only 4 in the bag. It's taking out the R and I as floaters for bingos. And it's really not giving very much away. All the Ys have gone, so Germy can't be played. And although there's a vowel over a double word square, that's not particularly dangerous because my opponent can only bingo by overlapping 4 tiles, with the first being an S. Pretty unlikely. And the rack leave's pretty good because the H is a good scoring tile and I'm likely to draw vowels. So Germ for 19. Pretty horrendous. I draw only 1 vowel. So there are now 8 vowels out of 11 remaining tiles. And look at this. All of the remaining tiles, 1 pointers. So the only way my opponent can score well is to bingo. And he's too far behind to catch me. 10 minutes on his clock, 2 minutes on mine. So I have a tricky position here. Well, I could play third and yod, or thrid and yod. Retaining the V and the P. But this is a nice position to be in. I will have some options, and the game is won. Nice bingo by my opponent. He now trails by 60, and he draws the final 4 tiles, and they're all vowels, double A, double E. He's not going out in 1. I'm not getting any further tiles. 2 minutes on my clock. So there's another spot for third. But can I go out in 2? Because if I play third or thrid, I'm keeping PV. And I'm not seeing anywhere where they can play. Eve is good, but Riz isn't, so the best I can do here is evert, keeping DHIP. And I'm looking to go out in 2. I've got 1.5 minutes to find such a play. And it's quite tricky because these tiles are just clunky. What about a play in column 2? So where can my V play? Pretty much nowhere. I've got Eve. Maybe I should play evert to avoid getting stuck with the V. Well, I've got lab as well, so I'm not going to be stuck with it. In which case, I think I'll go with thrid for 25. And if my opponent sticks an A out in the open, I will have Pav. And if he doesn't, I'm going to be playing Lav or Eve. Scanning the board in case I've overlooked somewhere to play off both of my tiles, or for a better V spot. And if I get 2 goes, are there 2 spots for my P? Well, there's up. Well, and there would be lap if I didn't place my V there. So I'll place my V between double E. And there's mop, so I don't need to preserve that spot. Through ER, I would have perv. No ERs on the board. Through EE, I would have veep. Seven minutes on my opponent's clock and 37 seconds on mine. Still looking for somewhere better to play my V. But it's not coming to mind. And I suspect there isn't anywhere else. Okay, 18 points for my opponent. So I have Eve, and this will be my last play because opponent's just got an A and will be able to play. So Eve for 12. And maybe I should have considered playing my P. If I could have scored enough, it would have been fine to have the V on my rack. But mop for 13 wouldn't have been enough. I'd need at least 14. And I can't see anywhere great for the P. Or nowhere higher scoring, rather. So 6 minutes for my opponent to find the best spot for his A. And he certainly does have spots. He's got mower, he's got par and har. And that's the end of the game. Final score, 383 for my opponent, 448 to me. A winning margin of 65 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Now, there's a new way of getting history up. HI, I'm told. Bang. There it comes. And this was my opponent's opening rack. And he plays evading. And I play bow for 28. Horrible rack for my opponent. Plays Jew. Now, did I miss something here? Yes, I did. Hibernise through HI. Wow. Tricky one to see. 9-letter play. No other bingos. Well done if you spotted that. I play Nebris for 35. And I think Bine would have been probably a better play. Bine and evading, giving very little away. And I think ERS is going to be worth more than 13 points. More than E. Yeah. Opponent's rack. Plays Les. Whoops. Let's see what he could have played. No bingos. Plays Les. Now, unperson, I thought about that. Wow, onto the N. I could have played it at this point. Played the N at that point. However, I think it's better to take out column 15 because the S was a more useful floater. But I did sacrifice 9 points in the process. I still like what I did. Opponent's rack. Plays cow. And now I have a slender lead, just 15 points. And I have this rack. Woxen B11. Okay, not great because it's opening up row A with a vowel underneath a double letter square. So I'm not a great fan of that. B4, Wex, that was the move I also balked at. And E11 Wex is the move I went for, and I still like that. Opponent's not having great racks at all. Plays rub. Now I have negation, and that is the only bingo, so delighted to have spotted that. Opponent's still struggling with racks. Plays Catmint, which is a nice play. Now I have a Vowel Glut. I play 0433, and that looks fine. None of these rack leaves look better. Opponent plays Cutely. Now, Aine would have sorted the rack out better than my play, which was Ain. And it would have scored, but it would have scored fewer points. And it would have opened up row O, so I still like my play. Opponent's rack plays Of. Now, surely I missed something here. Yes, I did. Wireline. Okay, I did consider line as a word ending, but wireline rings no bells at all in my mind. I simply have no recognition of that word, although I would have studied it. So that's one that got away. Well done if you spotted that. I played Lien, N5 lie. Well, again, that's opening up row O in a more dangerous way than Lien does, albeit scoring more points, so... Well, I like Lien because it's opening up the top of the board, while the bottom of the board is already open. Although I was ahead at this point, I was optimistic of getting a bingo with my blank, so I was happy for the board to become even more open. Opponent's rack plays Add. My rack. Wow, I cannot believe replying is the only bingo with this rack. It just felt like there were others, and under time pressure I went with replying, but that was the only one. Opponent plays Ode. Now this was a horror show and I changed. Except I didn't. I played Chi, and I still like that. Opponent plays As. Now, what did I do here? I played Germ. C3. Okay, so I could have played Herm. Germ had the strategic advantage of taking out bingo lanes, and it retains the H for score. Only 7-point score difference, so probably not a huge amount in them. I think they're both winning plays. Opponent has a ton of bingos, plays Otiust, and at this point I was looking for a 2-move out. Wow, M11, third in this spot, scores 4 more points, so maybe I should have played there. I didn't. Just looking at these rack leaves, and none of them suggest to me that there is an out in 2, but there could well be. Opponent plays Remate, which was a nice spot. And finally, E for 12 is best. So, pretty exciting game. Close to 450 points. And a fairly comfortable win from about 2/3 of the way into the game. As soon as I saw the second blank, I felt that I was in a very strong position, and then certainly replying down just confirmed the win with several moves still to play. So it's great to have games like that in a tournament. You'll have some close games, and you'll have a few games like this which give you a bit of a breather when you're not agonizing down to the wire, and you can enjoy the final part of the game just trying to eke out the maximum number of points, knowing that the game is in the bag. So, I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.